action on EA Sports. I'm Ed Cohen. Great to be joined by Jay Williams. Should be a terrific game here tonight. We're at Little Caesars Arena. Tonight, the Detroit Pistons getting set to match up with the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Thunder control the tap. Jay, without question, one of the biggest moments of the NBA offseason. Paul George, he chooses the Thunder. He stays in OKC.
And how about what Paul George said? He said, it's a perfect opportunity to submit myself and bring a championship where it has never been brought. And I think him and Russ work well off each other. Playoff P wants to be Playoff P all the time. Who better to bring that out of you than the Beastbrook?
Westbrook, pass stolen by Detroit.
Now push it. Let's attack in transition so we can build this lead.
Blake Griffin, defended by Jeremy Grant. Ferguson slams it down.
You know, Ed, the effort is what concerns me the most. Effort is replenishable. If you're tired, raise your hand, check yourself out. Get somebody who actually wants to get back in transition and play some defense. That will help your team win the game, not you just staying in the game to be better on offense.
Here comes the screen. Griffin to Drummond. Oh, it's blocked by Adams.
Don't stare him down like that afterwards.
Pistons come away with it.
It's early. Get a good quality shot here.
Shot from the lane won't go. Ferguson to Westbrook. And gets to the basket. Jay, he knew exactly where he was going with it.
And attention to detail is everything for a professional scorer like that. Actually getting it done the hard way there.
Reggie Jackson against the former MVP. Now pass taken away by the Thunder.
I'm hearing some boos from the crowd. They know just like I know you're not getting back on D.
No good. Defense catching a break there to Drummond. Knocked loose. Picked up by the Thunder. Hustle pays off. They've got the possession to George. Count it. We've seen Paul George's game evolve in recent years. Mixed results, Jay. How does he get back to being that elite two-way guy?
I think he needs to find a way to be aggressive. Let me bring you in and tell you what he dealt with this past year. When you're a guy who's used to having the ball in your hands, you can make more mistakes because you have more possessions. Then all of a sudden, when you play with a ball-dominant guard like Russell Westbrook, you don't have the ball as much, which means you try to make more out of less opportunity that you have. You force the action way more. Look for Paul George to be way more assertive in this game and find his rhythm by having the ball in his hands.
The shot by George won't go down. Love the hustle. Sprawled out on the deck. Time to adjust. Both coaches making changes on the floor.
Substitutions, Detroit.
Is Smith, guarded by Russell Westbrook. To Stanley Johnson. Short jumper off the mark. Nice follow-up on the dunk there. He climbed the ladder on that one.
Well, the question is, how big is the ladder? He's still climbing.
Russell Westbrook with the rock.
2 minutes remaining in the first.
From the painted area, won't go down.
That's superb defense. That's a defense getting there from the weak side early and making the player short on the shot.
48 wins a year ago for the Thunder. Jay, it took them a while to get to that point, but in so many ways, the Thunder had a great opportunity in the playoffs.
They did. It just seemed like something with their chemistry was a tad bit off with Carmelo Anthony. I think him not being there, him not being in Houston, them getting Andre Robertson back. He's a big-time lockdown defender on the perimeter. You surround him with youth and Hamidou Diallo, Terrence Ferguson, Alex Abrinas. This team has a chance to compete for a Western Conference Finals.
To Luke Kennard. Missed a wide-open look. Westbrook with it. Looking to make something happen. To Paul George. Swallowed up by Drummond. To Luke Kennard. Drummond to Smith. Shot clock's at 5. Down to 4 for 3. Off the iron. No good. The follow won't go either. The big fella, Andre Drummond. He's 3 of 5. 60% shooting from the field.
You know, Ed, as a player, when I was younger, there were certain guys that you just never went around on the court. You know, the ones that just threw those random elbows, smothered you with their physicality on the block. That's Andre Drummond, the guy who leads the league in rebounding.
We have both squads set to make some moves right now.
Number 22, Glenn Robinson.
Paul George to Schroeder.
City, number 17.
Drummond with the rejection.
Just incredible timing on that swat.
Finishing inside the paint on that one.
Look, there was barely any contact on that last play. I agree with the ref's no call. Let him play.
George. To Schroeder. Curling inside. Got a piece of it.
Jumping out the gym right now, Ed.
Great anticipation. The monster stuff. Deep 3 at the buzzer. We played one at Little Caesars Arena with the Pistons on top. Jay and I come back to Detroit after this. You're watching the NBA on EA Sports. First quarter complete, on to the second period. A little bit of a feeling out process so far.
Well, both teams had their rhythm. They established the tempo that they wanted to play at. But ultimately, something has to give. Some team has to draw a line in the sand.
Carmelo Anthony traded, but Sam Presti turns that into Dennis Schroeder, now on a team built to win.
And I love this acquisition by the Thunder. When you think about Schroeder, he is actually almost the opposite of what Russell Westbrook is. He averaged 19 points, 6.5 assists last year for the Hawks, but he is not a ball-dominant guard. He will have the ball in his hands, but he's more apt to make plays quickly with the ball than Russell, who likes to hold on to the ball towards the end of the shot clock.
Fires the 3. Great defense, forcing the miss. Across midcourt, it's Schroeder. 12-6, our score. The shot by Noel off the mark.
And you hate to say this, but this is the reality of the matter. Sometimes it takes guys a little while to warm up into the game. Seems like they finally found their rhythm in the second quarter.
Glenn Robinson III. Tough matchup against George. Schroeder with the basketball. Now down 6. Nothing going here on that drive. Schroeder. A bad pass as the Pistons come away with it.
Come on, let's dig in. Let's really build this lead.
Knocked loose. Thunder have it. Knocks it down from mid-range.
There you go. I like seeing his scoring coming from unlikely sources.
It's Detroit's ball. Ish Smith. from long range. Shakes free and hits.
Every hero needs a good sidekick. Nice find to set up the three.
Here's Schroeder with it. They trail by 7. Nothing going here on that drive. To George. Lets it fly from long range. It was contested, but Paul George still dials in for 3. At his size on the wing, that's a tough matchup on both ends of the floor.
Yeah, let me tell you about why he's so great defensively. He gets up into you and forces you one way. Does not give you an option to dance with the basketball. That wingspan, that frame, that size, that strength, and that lateral quickness. Oh, there's no getting by Mr. George.
Looks like both teams are making substitutions. Reggie Jackson, guarded by Russell Westbrook. Ish Smith. He's finally on the board. Makes his first shot.
Clearly not afraid of the spotlight here, because that was not an easy look.
Paul George to Adams. Oh, you could sense that coming.
There is a premium market for players with that type of hand-eye coordination.
And scores. Strong take.
Did you see that change of direction mid-flight? And also the English he utilized to spin the ball off the rim? That was a thing of beauty.
Jackson to Luke Kennard. Knocked loose. Picked up by the Thunder. Gets toughness right there. Physical inside, gets it to go.
He's been doing this for years, the physicality in which he plays. No one wants to see that. You're going to leave the game with black and blue marks all over your body.
Jackson to Smith. Oh, good defense there. Thunder with the steal. Ferguson to Paul George. Another chance. Short jumper stays out.
It's so important to instill confidence in your best player. I know he missed a shot earlier, but that doesn't mean that you can't run the same exact play and let him prove he's a player he thinks he is, and we all know he is.
Westbrook with the basketball. Final minute, first half. To George. Here comes the screen. Paul George, 4-2. Paul George. Oh, 3 for 8. He's got to do better.
And last year, it seemed like PG really had a difficult time finding that next level elite PG. No doubt about it, this year, he needs to be playoff P all day, every day.
Jackson to Griffin. Jackson to Griffin. Knocks it down off the step back.
When the ball's in his hands, we all knew what was going to happen.
Westbrook across the timeline. His guys can hold for the final shot. Here comes the screen. Paul George, now 4 for 9. Deep 3 at the buzzer. Good. A 3 at the buzzer. Everything going right so far as they've extended the lead. That's it. First half has come to an end. The Pistons with the lead.
Let's take a look at what went down so far in this one. The Pistons have a comfortable lead at the halfway mark. It was their playmaking, the way they gave each other scoring opportunities. That really impresses me. I love seeing unselfish basketball like that. These are the guys getting buckets for the Detroit Pistons. The Thunder were unable to find an offensive flow in the opening half. They don't have a single player that can claim double figures in scoring. These are the guys getting buckets for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Game traffic. Bench points.
The Oklahoma City Thunder were not given a chance to relax in that opening half. Even when the starters were on the bench, the reserves were maintaining the lead and earning their playing time.
Player of the half.
Andre Drummond has been making the competition look silly on the defensive end. Here we go with the top plays from the first half.
Number 2. Number 1.
Thanks for joining us for the halftime report. The second half is about to get started.
Right now, the Pistons have the basketball. Jackson to Drummond with a drop step. The big fella, Andre Drummond. He's now 4 for 6.
We're watching a clinic right now. We're watching basketball one-on-one. Whoever this professor is, he needs to get paid top dollar.
Westbrook to Paul George. Lets it fly from beyond the arc. Paul George locked in. Hits the tough three.
Ed, let me tell you how this one goes. It ain't no fun if the homies can't have some. Everyone's getting a piece of the rock tonight.
Jackson with it. His guys lead here early stages, third quarter. Nice finish at the rim.
No doubt about where that one was headed.
Westbrook into the front court. The deficit is 6. 4-3. No good. That's great defense.
And big-time coaching strategy by the staff right there, utilizing their bench, keeping fresh legs on that shooter consistently throughout the course of the game.
Ish Smith picked up by Adams. To Griffin. Short jumper won't fall.
It's easy. Force guys into low percentage shots. That's the reason why we're big into stats. It was all provided to you before the game in the scouting report.
To Smith. Here comes the screen. Ish Smith to Griffin. Doesn't have the touch. No good. To George. Fires the three, and Paul George good on the quick release there.
Well, the defense has been good, but the shot-making ability has been better. And sometimes for NBA players at this level, the more you're in their face, the more it helps them center their focus on the target, which is making the shot. I know it sounds weird, but trust me, it's a real thing, Ed.
Pistons ball here. Jackson to Drummond. Knocked loose. Drummond matched up with Steven Adams. Westbrook into the front court. His guys down 3. Oh, Russell Westbrook. He has struggled just a little bit. 2 for 5.
And in today's game, you have to make shots like that. Nice work draining it from deep.
To Drummond. He was all over him. Missed the shot. No free throws. Ferguson slams it down.
Just wait a second, Ed. Wait 1 second. Can we go back to the play before this great play that we just saw? Just because you have a bad offensive possession, you can't allow that to go down and reciprocate itself on the defensive end. One bad play does not make two bad plays. You have to bounce back. That's how you play this game.
Ish Smith, very efficient and making an impact. He's 3 for 3.
2 points. Take them any way you can get them.
Russ at the controls. Ferguson to Westbrook. Send it away.
Did you see how far he got up? He kept going up and up and up. I think he's still going up.
Paul George can't get that one to go. Defense all over him. To Jackson. Here's a chance from long range, and Reggie Jackson, no hesitation on that one. Buries it.
And watching all these great shooters on the floor at once, it almost mesmerizes me. It's like you're watching the shot in slow motion, the backspin. It gives off the feel that the ball's going in every time.
Both coaches hitting the reset button. Fresh legs coming onto the floor. George to Westbrook. Beyond the arc for 3. Tough shot there for Westbrook. He always thinks it has a chance. Now pass taken away by the Thunder. Russell Westbrook steps into it. That's no good.
That's how you do it. You keep riding him to the basket, and if the refs aren't calling it, keep being physical. Keep knocking him off balance.
Stuffs it down with authority. He's endured a major injury. He's had a change of address. But you look at Paul George, he is in the prime years of his career.
And there's no doubt about it. This entire offseason, if I were Paul George, I would think about how do I constantly channel my self-assigned alter ego. Playoff P needs to step up to the court every single day and bring that energy.
Deep left corner. Nothing going here on that drive. Gets a shot up off the mark. Westbrook with it. His guys now down by a point. To Paul George. From the painted area, won't go down. Nothing going here on that drive. Johnson to Griffin. Out of bounds, last touch by the Pistons. New personnel onto the floor as Dwayne Casey switches up his team. Oklahoma City ball. Ferguson. Westbrook. It's no good. Shots not going down. Trying to cash in. Reggie Jackson, not that time. That ends the third quarter. The Pistons have the lead. The Thunder have it to start the fourth quarter. We've got a one-possession game going on. This has the look of a race that's going down to the wire.
And it looked that way from the very beginning, but this is where the coaches and the best players on the floor really earn their money. Down the stretch, it's game time.
Screen coming. Ferguson. Shot from the lane won't go. Luke Kennard picked up by Schroeder. To Stanley Johnson. Here comes the screen. Not that time.
Oh, I see how you're playing this chess match. That's what you keep doing defensively. Keep baiting him and luring him into shooting that jump shot. Exploit him.
Jackson with it. His guys now trailing by a point. To Stanley Johnson. And the finish on the nice step through.
And did you see the lift on the shot? Did you see the ball release off the hand? To be able to have the concentration to finish with such a feathery touch in the midst of contact, that's something special to watch.
Ferguson to Adams. Steven Adams with the slam. Jay, I'm surprised he had a chance to wrap him up.
Well, you're not the only one surprised. This guy is not a good free throw shooter. You never let him have an easy bucket. If anything, make him earn it at the charity stripe.
The possession in favor of Detroit. Jackson to Stanley Johnson. The shot blocked by Grant. It's rejected by Noel.
This game is all about playing mind tricks on people. The offense is more worried about getting their shot blocked than they are about actually making the shot.
Jackson with it. They're down 3. And they call it.
A simple touch foul.
Some lineup changes now for both clubs. Blake Griffin, defended by Steven Adams. To Smith. Oh, nice find for the basket.
Some players are just built to absorb the contact. He pretty much dusted that defender off like that was a bug at the park.
Westbrook's shot won't go on the drive. To Smith. Second effort. The big fella, Andre Drummond. With that, he's 5 for 9.
A man down low on the block. Drummond is going to feast in and around the basket. His field goal attempts are limited, so don't expect him to be featured, but you better have a body on him at all times and limit second chance opportunities. Let me tell you why. He collects 26.2% of all misses. That puts him in elite conversation. Him and DeAndre Jordan are the first players ever to eclipse the 26% mark, and the only player to ever do that before in the NBA was Dennis Rodman.
And counted at the rim.
Why not? Russell Westbrook is the only guy stopping Russell Westbrook. And when he decides to put his head down and go to the rim, he's going to the rim. It's that easy.
To Griffin. To Stanley Johnson. Griffin. Had a good look there, but it's no good. Ferguson. Has a chance. Knocks it down from mid-range.
Well, we got a chance to firsthand watch something be created. I think we just watched an epidemic of passing. I've never seen something like this before. It was so contagious, everybody started to do it, and it ultimately led to the other team's demise.
If that's an epidemic, sign me up. Oh, they called the foul, Jay.
Welcome to new age basketball. You blow on me, that's a foul.
Oh, denied.
As my old teammate RJ would say, stay down, clown.
To Schroeder. Adams. Pistons have it. Finishing inside the paint on that one.
You know, Ed, the effort is what concerns me the most. Effort is replenishable. If you're tired, raise your hand, check yourself out. Get somebody who actually wants to get back in transition and play some defense. That will help your team win the game, not you just staying in the game to be better on offense.
Paul George. The Thunder down to 4 on the shot clock. Adams. Going to launch beyond the arc. Pistons clear the board. Great feed. Short jumper stays out.
You see, Ed, this is where coaches get fired. It's great to have good offensive sets, but if you can't execute, then the play was a failure.
Griffin. For 3, buries it on the catch and shoot. Now a whistle. And we're going to get a timeout from OKC. They'll need a quick shot and then likely a quick foul in what is now a 2-possession game. George buries it.
Just because someone is listening to you doesn't mean that they actually hear you. At the end of the game, when players get tired, they listen to what the assignment was, but they didn't hear what it was.
And too much contact.
That's just a blatant foul. Maybe he's trying to make a statement.
And he connects on the first free throw. Second one off the mark. He goes 1 for 2. George lets it fly. Doesn't get the bounce. The Pistons are the winners as they win a close one by 2. That does it. For my partner Jay Williams and our entire crew, I'm Ed Cohen. This has been a presentation of the NBA on EA Sports. For more, log on to easports.com. As we say, so long, everyone.
It's Jalen Rose, and it's time for the EA Sports post-game wrap-up. The Pistons got the win in a close game. The defense in this matchup was outstanding. When they weren't blocking shots, they were making steals, and it all came together for a terrific win. The Thunder just couldn't close this one out. Sure, it's great they shot so well from 3. But none of that really matters when your team has one more loss to show for it. Here are the guys who put up the most points for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Game track. 3-point shooting.
Each of these teams were solid with their long-range shooting. So by extension, they were pretty poor with their perimeter defense. Closing out on shooters must always happen, whether you're tired or not.
Player of the game.
Andre Drummond was happy to throw down plenty of dunks. And if the defense happened to be there, he brought them along for the ride.
Was cold.
This isn't the segment you want to be in, of course, but even the best players find their way into this part of the show. Here we go with the top plays.
Number 2.
This has been a presentation of ESPN on EA Sports. Until next time, I'm Jalen Rose, signing off.